This is a Nervous Chuckles production. Hey!
I'm reviewing here!
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of I'm Reviewing Here, a podcast where I, Matthew Bussey, watch and review Sight and Sound's top greatest movies of all time. Wouldn't it be so weird if it was called Sound and Sight? What sounds better phonetically, Sight and Sound or Sound and Sight and Sound? Of course it does. Hi, everybody. I have a head scratcher of a film today, and I want us to all scratch away. And oh, hold on, my computer's about to die.
Oopsie.
Hold on. Oop, sorry. Okay, my computer charger, it looks like mice have been chewing on it. Looks like a cat chew through it, and I don't even own a cat. What if there are animals coming into my apartment and I can't see them? Because what if they are invisible? Like, what are the invisible creatures in Harry Potter called? Aren't there invisible creatures? Or am I thinking of the car? I can't think straight. Yeah, I know, that is scary. I think, animals deserve to be invisible because they've been through so much, and we deserve to give them respect. That's my PSA. Okay. Anyway, today's movie, Wowwwww. Okay, this is a movie that I did not understand for the life of me when I first watched it, but you know what? It stuck with me. And the more I thought about it, the more I went, wow, you know what? There's never been another movie made like that, in my opinion. I mean, it's... I'm laughing because I had to burp and my voice just went high, and that's probably going to sound funny when you listen to this. I think this is a movie that is extremely well crafted and original, and it is so fun and free-flowing with its creativity. It is a movie that took me many months to pronounce correctly. I'm not lying, many months. It is called, are you ready? And it feels so good when you learn how to say this movie. Are you ready? Oh my god, wait, I've actually never said this out loud before. Okay, wait. Oh god. Oh, I should have dressed up for this. Okay, the movie I'm going to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen, is SYMBIOPSYCHOTAX-eh-plasm, Take 1. Oh, that felt so good!
It's in that lane. Look. Oh, size always in the fucking way. This is the class picture here.
Size Safaria.
No, what is it you want to know?
What kind of picture you make?
What kind? Feature length. It's a feature length we don't know.
We are not trying to take the film away from Bill Greaves.
You know, it's not merely an experiment. It's an experiment that's culminating in a film. Now, I didn't read the concept of it.
Take it easy. What?
It's going very well.
It is not. You know it.
The way to make the script better is to first of all drop the euphemisms. You talk real language.
For all anybody knows, he's directing this whole scene.
He doesn't know how to direct.
Ran out of film there. He wants another magazine. He wants another magazine for Larner.
We'll get into it, and when we get into it, the people out there will understand.
And if you ask him,
what is the film about? He just gives you some answer that's just vaguer than the question.
Don't take me seriously.
Slate?
Slated.
Wait, did I say the name of the movie right? SYMBIOPSYCHOTAX-eh-plasm. Do I have to go back? Oh, gotta go back! No, I don't think I do. I think I said it right. SYMBIOPSYCHOTAX-eh-plasm, take 1. SYMBIOPSYCHOTAX-eh-plasm. It is so much fun to say. Say it. Say it right now. I don't care if you're in public. Say it out loud. Murmur it to yourself. Mumble it, okay? SYMBIOPSYCHOTAX-eh-plasm. It's so good. What does that title mean? I got no freaking idea. I do, actually. I found a definition of what it kind of means, but I still don't understand what it means. So, oh my goodness, how do I define this movie? This movie, I had never heard of it before. It came out in 1968. It's US made. It's experimental. I think that's the best genre to place this movie in. It is very experimental. It's defined as, quote, A documentary within a documentary within a documentary. What the hell does that mean? Well, let me explain it to you the best way that I can. This movie is all handheld footage. It basically follows this director who is filming this movie like in Central Park, New York City, and he's filming the actors saying their lines. So we see footage of the actors, saying their lines, but then we also see footage of somebody filming the director filming them. Make sense? And also, to make things even more twisty, the director in this movie, who's played by William Greaves. William Greaves, a master, absolutely a master. He wrote and directed this movie, and he stars in it. He plays the director, but he's not playing himself. He's playing like a made-up character of himself, but his name is the same. It's so weird. It's so weird, and I could not understand this for the life of me. It took me a good solid 20 minutes to really get into this movie because I was confused. I was very amused by it, from the start, but I didn't know what was going on. It really takes a while for you to kind of get the hang of what. Okay, I think I get this. I guess I get they're filming a movie, but is this all scripted or is this not scripted? That is what confused me the most. And I think Greaves, in studying this movie more and in reading what people had to say about it, that's exactly what he really wants you to do. He doesn't want to make you annoyed. He wants to really show you how reality and fiction blend so much. When reality and fiction blend together, it causes a mess, basically. And in thinking that, it's kind of like a science experiment, like when, you combine elements or something, it can cause a big reaction. That's what this movie is. And in thinking about that is what makes this movie such a masterpiece, because it shows you how this is a movie about filmmaking, and it shows you how filmmaking in many ways is like a chemical reaction, It is. That is so fascinating because I don't think about that much. We don't think about that much, But it really is a reaction. Everything that you do when you make a movie has a reaction. A scene may not go right. A scene may go right, but then something will go wrong and somebody may get affected or something may get affected by it. A set might burn down. Somebody may start crying, but they weren't supposed to cry because of the intensity of the scene. Boom, boom, boom. Everything has a reaction. But that's not even, I could talk about this movie for a while. This is a movie that I think really needs to be seen, to be believed even, because I'm warning you right now, you're not going to like it at first, because it is just so out there and so whimsical and bizarre and confusing, but you really do have to stick with it. Also, this movie uses, a triptych technique. I'm making that up. A triptych is a painting that's one, two, it's 3 paintings basically, but it's on a little structure. I can't think of the word. What's a triptych? Hold on. Time out. Stand by. Triptych. An artwork divided into 3 parts. Okay, I did get it right. The movie and the cinematography, it was by Stephen Larner and Terrence McCartney Filgate. Wow, what a name. They utilize 3 screens on screen. So you will see the actors saying, their lines, but then you'll also see in the next, frame on screen, you'll see the back of the cameraman getting filmed, him filming them, And then in the 3rd screen, you'll also see the director, Bill Greaves, watching them doing all of it. Oh my God. It's just, even talking about it, I'm it's fascinating. It's weird too, because, this is experimental, and it feels like, you have to remember that this feels like an easy thing to do nowadays, but this is, 1968 we're talking about. Nobody had ever seen a movie like this, ever. That's amazing.
Plot synopsis.
So this is going to obviously be kind of short, and it's going to be more of a summary of basically everything I just said. So I may be repeating some shots. So William Greaves, he shot SYMBIOPSYCHOTAX-eh-plasm Take 1. At the time, it was just called SYMBIOPSYCHOTAX-eh-plasm. I will say that word a million times until the day I die. in 1968 in Central Park in New York City. He brought in actors whom he had known from his work at the Actors Studio and hired 3 different film crews to document the proceedings. Greaves appears as the director of the fictional documentary Over the Cliff and utilizes the 3 film crews to each cover a different aspect of the story. Greaves instructs the first crew to film just the actors in an effort to document the audition process. He tells the second film crew to document the first film crew. He tells the third to document anything that fits into the documentary's overarching theme, including the actors, the other 2 film crews, and any passersby or spectators who happen to fit into Over the Cliff's overarching theme of, quote, sexuality. That's a big thing, too, in this movie. You see a lot of spectators. You see a lot of real random people just walking around Central Park, some of them mentally ill, possibly. You can I don't want to judge, but you can just tell by what they're saying and their body language. But a lot of other people are just bystanders, and they, they're very crass. They're really, really crass. And it's sad to watch SYMBIOPSYCHOTAX-eh-plasm because the shit that they say is so inappropriate and so wrong. I'm talking like they used the derogatory F word like 50,000 times in this movie. And these aren't actors. These are just real people, too. It's really sad. But I think that's also the fascinating thing about this movie is that Greaves really did show human nature. You know, he really did show that in this film. Anyway, Greaves opted to... that was kind of hard to watch. Those scenes are hard to watch because it's like, oh my God, were people really that disgusting back then? And then it's like, people are still kind of disgusting. Back then, cancel culture didn't exist. But yeah, if those people were... Can you imagine if this movie was filmed like last year and it came out? Every single one of those passersby would have been canceled. Greaves opted to perform a part rather than, quote, playing himself. Because Greaves' director, so his character... is sexist, unfocused, unprofessional, and seemingly inept, the film crew starts a sour descent, all of which is caught on camera because of the constant filming. This footage ends up in the final cut of the film and renders the film more complex. This complexity is enhanced by Greaves' editing techniques, including split screens displaying 2 or 3 perspectives at once, as well as simultaneous split screens to tell the story from 3 different perspectives. So yeah, you don't really know where to look at this movie. It's very artistic. There are so many things happening at once on screen. I think also I'll say here, what did confuse me was the scenes of the crew talking. There are a lot of moments of them talking in this room, talking about the movie and about Greaves and how he's hard to work with. And I didn't know if that was scripted or not. Or was it not scripted, but they were acting, but they were talking about Greaves, the character he's playing, and not Greaves, the director? Or did they not know that Greaves was really meant to play an unsympathetic guy, and so they were just basically reacting how they would? Yeah. Head scratcher. I know it's a head scratcher. That I'm still thinking about. So Greaves creates in this movie, he creates a circular meta documentary about a documentary about a documentary, and a documentary documenting a documentary about a documentary. Holy shit. Let me just say that again. This is a meta documentary about a documentary about a documentary, and a documentary documenting a documentary about a documentary. Who thinks up of this? Who does? Greaves' attempt to capture reality on film employs cameras in the right places at inopportune moments to discourage any short improvisations or unnatural events. So like I said, there's no plot in this movie. This movie is just a collection of shots of acting, of fictitious moments, but then real moments, and it just ends out of nowhere. And yeah. Oh, yeah, the end.
Slate for camera B.
Yeah, Slate.
Slate on this one here?
Am I really stopping you?
Yeah, this is... Are you?
Give me a slate.
No, keep going.
We keep going.
Let's go.
This is proceeding very well. Look, this is your first, go on this, and let's not have any neuroticism. This was very, very, very effective. Very effective. It looks beautiful seeing you come down. I mean, it's just fantastic. And when you come down there, you had moments of emotional reality. going for yourself. And the important thing is not to panic. I mean, there's no reason to panic at all. I mean, just take your time and, feel your way through it. We've got all the time in the world. I mean, if you want to wait an extra 2 or 3 seconds and, organize your faculties, your emotional motors and various other things, take that time, because we can look at, both of you are very attractive, we can look at you, while you're thinking, while you're trying to arrive at some kind of, reality for yourselves.
We
What?
rushed it and like
feels so.
Yeah, well, all right. I mean, there's no need for that. There's no need for rushing at all. I mean, you take your time, okay?
better go.
All right? Let's do it another, take two. Take two. Take two of take two.
Do you want to check that and see where you're going again? Because we went off the beat.
Okay.
So let's check the
just
script
check the
to see
script.
where we're going.
Okay, fine. All right, where's the script? Can I have the script, Barbara?
Six.
Keep running. All right, here we go. All right, stand by. Quiet, please. All right, action. Action.
Hey, Alice.
No.
Come on, Alice.
No.
Come on, sport.
No.
Just wait a minute. Come here. What the hell's the matter with you? For Christ's sake, tell me what the matter is. Come here. I don't understand what's going on. Come here.
Freddie, get away from me, please. Just how stupid do you think I am?
Come on, cut out the double talk. Come on!
Freddie, just how stupid do you think I am?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You know perfectly well what I'm talking about.
So what does it all mean? Well, it means a lot of things, this movie. I think Greaves is really just playing with the camera in this film. He's playing with the medium of film. He's playing with a lot of things. He really is kind of making a statement about filmmaking and auditioning and actors and reality and so many things. This is, one of the earliest examples, too, of... I mean, it's like, I want to say documentary, but documentaries have existed forever and ever and ever, but this is not at all your usual documentary. I think this really is one of the first films to be a documentary, but also play around with the, the quote requirements of making a documentary and what makes a documentary, It's very like Spike Jonze, it's like very Spike Jones. It's like very Charlie Kaufman in this film. And even though I was confused, even though I was a little disturbed, to be honest, but also I was just there was never a dull moment in this film. Even though you're lost throughout, it has this very, very weird hold on you, This is a movie that is really unlike anything. I know I say that ad nauseum, but it really is true. This is a movie, like, out of all the movies I've reviewed, there's been nothing like SYMBIOPSYCHOTAX-eh-plasm. First of all, it's called SYMBIOPSYCHOTAX-eh-plasm. I mean, what the hell? Like, that's one thing. And also, it's a documentary within a documentary within a blah, 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 blah. Doc within a doc within a doc within a doc within a doc. I mean, it's just... I think, if you're not into movies that make you think, don't think that you're going to get like a headache from this movie. You won't get a headache. You're not going to be so confused that it's going to be a bad experience. I think in this movie, it's worth checking out just to see how, set apart it is from other films, That's kind of like the best thing I can say about it. It's a movie that was ahead of its time in that it kind of basically knew the quote rules about how to make a movie, but in this case, Greaves just throws the rule book out and just says, "No, I'm just going to play and do something." Now, it could have been a failure. It could have been like, "This is a boring film. I don't get what it means. It's pretentious." But this is one of those rare. Well, not rare. I don't mean that, but I feel like it's one of those, unexpected delights. It's one of those unexpected films that whose power does more than it anticipated. This movie sticks with you. It really, really does. It's on the Criterion Channel. At least it should still be, and I recommend it absolutely. BTS Secrets and Scandals. So, I mean, the making of this movie is quite fascinating. The film was independently financed by one of Greaves' former students from his teaching days at the National Film Board of Canada and the Actors Studio. One of his students financed this? He seemed like a really likable guy, William Greaves. He passed away in the 2010s, I think. Lived a long life, though, and yeah. There's also like oh my god, I didn't even mention it. Greaves was African American, too. This is also what is so groundbreaking about this film. Oh my god, I cannot believe I forgot about this. But yeah, Greaves, an African American filmmaker, making this film, having complete control over it. Wow. Now, I know New York, well, there's racists everywhere, but for New York is one of the friendlier states, in my opinion, in this country. We call the USA. But back in the day, can you imagine a person of color making a movie like in the South like this? It would have been unheard of. And this is so beautiful about SYMBIOPSYCHOTAX-eh-plasm. It's so beautiful to see somebody, who is black, who has complete ownership of their art. Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. That is absolutely why I love this movie so much, too. One of the other reasons why I love the movie so much. So the title, it made me thinking about that. What the hell does that mean? So Greaves was really fascinated by scientific concepts, and there's one concept called symbiotaxiplasm. So not symbiopsychotaxiplasm, but symbiotaxiplasm. Its roots, the roots of the word basically mean, quote, together life movement fluid. Don't really know what that means. And it was originated by Arthur F. Bentley in his book Inquiry into Inquiries, Essays in Social Theory, which Greaves described as, quote, as those events that transpire in the course of anyone's life that have an impact on the consciousness and the psyche of the average human being, and how that human being also controls or affects changes or has an impact on the environment. Okay, how did I interpret that? I don't really know. I just took it as what I said earlier. Everything has a reaction. Everything reacts to something else. Everything reacts. And that's exactly what happens in this film. Everything reacts. Greaves' character is not likable, so it has a reaction on everybody in the crew. Everybody is making this film in a public square in Central Park, and it causes other people to, come by and be like, I want to be on film. Can I say something? It even causes the police to show up in one scene. And yeah, we forget about that. Reaction. I might have to call that episode this. Following the film's completion in 1968, Greaves attempted to secure financing for a theatrical release. Its experimental nature and bizarre content, however, this is sad, made finding distribution through channels virtually impossible. This lack of marketability led Greaves to abandon the 4 sequels in his planned 5-film arc. He was planning to make more movies about this. Now, Greaves held on to the original print negatives until 1991. This came out in 1968, so that's a long-ass time, when the Brooklyn Museum held a retrospective of Greaves' work and the curator requested to show the undistributed film. That's great, because this really is like a museum film. I can really see this being played at museum, and it was that brought the movie back, but more so it was the 1992 Sundance Film Festival that really made this movie, it brought this movie completely out of the dungeon, So Steve Buscemi and Steven Soderbergh. Steven Soderbergh is a very famous director. He did Traffic. He did the Ocean's 11 trilogy, Magic Mike, a lot of movies, a lot of indie movies too. They loved this movie when they saw it at the Sundance Film Festival, and they loved it so much that they met up with Greaves, and the 3 of them worked together to secure distribution deals for the film. In addition, Soderbergh and Buscemi also helped finance the sequel. The sequel was called, and I did not write it down because I forgot to write it down. What was the sequel called? Strikeout? Wait, hold on. Sequel. Oh, it's Take 2.5. Take 2.5. Sorry. Take 2.5 is the name of the sequel. I did not watch it, but it's also on the Criterion Channel. So they loved it. I really liked what Steven Soderbergh said. Steven Soderbergh said this, quote, as you can imagine, I just thought SYMBIOPSYCHOTAX-eh-plasm was one of the most amazing things I'd ever seen. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how great it was and that it wasn't famous. I mean, really famous. Even then, almost 10 years ago, I felt maybe it's still, even now, too far ahead of its time. It's the ultimate reality piece. The difference being, in this case, that nobody was in on the joke. And that's what makes it so brilliant. Oh, I like that. When you do a reality show on TV today, you know you're part of a show and that they're going to start creating obstacles for you or trying to complicate the situation purposefully and consciously. Here, you're just watching a situation where people are absolutely convinced that Bill is out of control, doesn't know what he's doing, and you're a fly on the wall. And then the ultimate mutiny takes place. It's really incredible. I think when he was presented with that material, he must have felt like the cinema gods were smiling on him. That is really fascinating too, because look, reality television, reality films, they're everywhere now. But like I said, everybody, like he says, is in on the joke. I did say earlier I was confused whether Greaves, the people making this movie, the people on screen thought Greaves was playing a character. But as we now know, they really did believe that he wasn't being nice. So Greaves is a little sneaky guy. He wants to get people's natural reactions on this film. This movie is one of, I think, the earliest depictions of people. That's a huge undertaking. That's a huge task. And he does it. And man, it is out there, and in a good way, out there. The best moment. I didn't have a favorite moment. There wasn't one scene that really stuck with me. I think it was just honestly the whole experience in general. Really lame answer, but I don't want to lie. Just no, the whole experience, every scene was great. Did not have a favorite moment. So sue me. Mais est-ce que je suis d'accord avec les critiques de ce film? So, believe it or not, this movie, after so many years later, it's considered to be an underrated classic. Richard Brody of New Yorker called it one of the greatest movies about movie making. Michael Atkinson in Village Voice said Greaves' place in history is unarguable. Oh my god, I hate that word. Unarguable? Arguable. Whether it's then, now, in the future, or all of the above. Wow. How did I not know of this movie? I mean, truly, I'm blown away. How did I not know of William Greaves? Wow. John Anderson of Newsday said that the movie remains as risk-taking as ever, challenging assumptions about cinema, storytelling, and the gossamer boundaries between fiction and fact. Yeah, there's nothing else I can say. I mean, I just agree. I agree. Yeah, totally. A.O. Scott of the New York Times said, delighted with the artifices of filmmaking, Mr. Greaves is also after the truth about human interactions, about cinematic image making, and also, slyly and unmistakably, about race. Yeah. Slyly. Sly is the best word to describe Greaves, in my opinion. I think, yeah. I would be so afraid to work with the director who I found out was had a few tricks up his sleeve and was lying. I would probably get really mad and throw a hissy fit because I don't like to be lied to or tricked like that. Like, I don't like when people make over-the-top jokes about me. One time, let's not go there. I was going to talk about my roommates. They did this joke on me and I ended up getting really mad. But I was actually really drunk at the time, but no excuse. I did get really mad. They put a dresser in my bedroom when I wasn't there. I was at a wedding party and they put a dresser in my bedroom. Sons of bitches. Okay. Anyway, yeah. The truth is out there. And Greaves does his best to show it. Is it really one of the best movies of all time? I'm going to absolutely say yes. Look, I know I've said it a trillion times. It's not going to be for everybody. You have to really like movies. You have to be open to embracing new styles of visual storytelling if you're going to, put on SYMBIOPSYCHOTAX-eh-plasm. But I am going to say, hell yeah. Look, I'm still thinking about it. It's so different. In a good way, different. It's, you have this movie about, this movie was done by an African-American filmmaker who did not at all care about having to follow these rules of filmmaking, because filmmaking doesn't have rules. You don't need to have rules for filmmaking, and he did that, and he made a film that was ahead of its time, a film that, could be talked about for ages, a film that did not know how to connect with people, but it's making such a wave now all these years later because reality and fiction, we've seen this so many times, and this was honestly one of the first films that really put a magnifying glass towards the relationship between reality and fiction. Ooh, I like that. Well, the imagery kind of doesn't work there, but I did the best that I could. Anyway, Symbiote-Psychotaxiplasm, check it out. Check out the sequel too if you can. I have not seen it, but wow, this movie is just wow, bonkers, wow, but good, wow. And it really makes me want to go to New York City, especially now that it's hot. I would love to go to Central Park. I've never been to the Central Park Zoo. No, that wasn't one of my first Instagram pictures. I took a really good Instagram picture in Central Park one time. And, oh man, that was 2016. Wow. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you next time on this episode of, I'll see you next time on this podcast, which has episodes. That's what I meant to say. In the meantime, get your ass off the couch and go to the goddamn movies. Go support your local cinema, okay? I don't care if you don't like popcorn. You can get other food there, you morons, okay? Do it. Some theaters actually sell ice cream. And I'm not talking about the really expensive ice cream. I'm talking about if you go to a little indie theater, you can get ice cream for like $4. Okay, that's still kind of a lot, but it's good. It's good. Do it. Do it, guys. And you know what? I was going to make a joke, but it's inappropriate. Okay, cool. Bye. Oh, you made it. You made it. You made it. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of I'm Reviewing Here. New episodes drop Tuesdays and Fridays. You can get this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Feel free to follow me on Instagram at I'm Reviewing Here. You can also subscribe on YouTube. New episodes drop there the same day they drop on the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. Please leave a review if you'd like. Be mean, be nice, hit on me. I don't really care. Candor really, really is important to me, and, you know, it helps the podcast too. So I really hope you enjoyed it. This podcast is brought to you especially by Nervous Chuckles. That is my fake production company because I make people nervously chuckle all the time because they never know if I'm telling a joke or not. So they're always like, do I laugh? Do I not laugh? Is he serious? Is he insane? Did he get out of the loony? What's going on? So if I made you nervously chuckle, then that means that I did my job, and thank you. There is no funding for this podcast, but if you want to give me money, then yeah, like hit me up, DM me. Bye-bye.